And so I want to welcome everyone to this virtual solstice gathering. Janeen, I think a week ago, just said, hey, why don't we gather together in this time of transitioning from the darkness into the light? And Rosemary said yes, and our friend Leah is not able to be here live, so we're actually going to share a recording that she made as an extra little present and a gift for everyone at the end of the call. And so I just want to welcome everybody. It's so cool to see people from all different circles in the 3 or 4 of us world. And I see people from Toltec circles and Mexico circles and new amazing friends I've met this year like Peleg and family and Wonderlust people and Paonia people. So I just want to welcome everyone. And so what we're going to be doing today is I keep having this image of like waves where we're going to go ahead and go into an activity or an experience and then kind of come up for air. And each one of us is going to be leading a part of the call. So we'll be kind of passing the baton, so to speak. And if you would like to close your eyes while you're doing any one part of the activity, if you want to get up and move while you're doing the activities, it's really anything that feels right to you. And so for me, as I was preparing for this call, I was really just feeling into 2019, and I know for so many of us, it's just been a really big year. There's been tons of changes. I know for myself, it's been a lot of growth and getting bigger and bolder, and a lot of changes in terms of friends who have recently passed and just shifting in work and life. And I know for myself at the end of the year, I always use this as a time to reflect on what has served me and what hasn't served me, and to do that kind of shedding, clearing process to let go of anything that feels like it's not in alignment with my intent and who I want to harmonize my soul with and how that's showing up in my life. And so today we'll have a chance to do that, as well as to really catch up to right now in this moment today, what is it that you need? And so I've been super aware this month of setting my intent to not have too much busyness. I feel like December, as we come into solstice time, is it's such a sacred time, and it's a time that in the natural world there's more stillness, right? There's more quiet. The fields are fallow and the animals are hibernating. And yet, as humans, we've kind of created this interesting contrast where there's often, more activities at my children's school, and there's more social gatherings, and there's more shopping and buying and presents. And I felt like I had done a pretty good job of managing that until we got to this week. And with some unexpected happenings, I felt like I started going over that edge, just into that place of feeling like too much. And so I'm really looking forward to today as a chance to just like drop down, get quiet, get clear, and just refuel. And so I'm sure, as many of you know, during solstice, we're coming through the darkest part of the year, and the solstice is when we're going to hit that equal day and night and then move into the light again. And so for me and for many people, it's like a time when a lot of things stir up in your soul, and you're looking at those places that may feel like they're in the dark, or they're cranky, or they're ready to shift. And I always feel a sense of release as we move through that solstice time. And so the way I'd love to start, because I have been really making a practice to call things, say things, name them as they are. And I know years ago, when I was just starting on my path, I was always a little reluctant to share who I really was and what I'm really here to do on this planet. And so one of the things that I've been claiming, not so much as like a title I put on my emails or website, but just within myself, is that I'm someone who is a light bearer and a light amplifier and a light worker. And so I'd love to just check in with all of you. If you're someone who resonates with that kind of language, I'd love for you to type it into the chat box. And if you have another way you like to describe yourself, that's totally welcome as well. But to really establish that on this call, we're here to call in the light, to amplify our light, and to nurture our light. And that I feel like we're entering this time when we've been preparing and we're ready, and that 2020 feels like it just has this really huge opening for us who have that kind of mentality of like why we're here on the planet right now. So if you feel comfortable about sharing that in the chat box, I see Mag says, I'm a star reflecting light from others. Oh, I love that. Elizabeth saying, I'm a holder of loving space. That is beautiful. Pamela saying, I'm a change agent in nice bold letters. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to give, I see typing fingers. So any ways you want to just witness yourself, have everyone else witness you, call in. Being part of this kind of tribe of people that I see are just really nurturing healing and transformation and truth and love and light. Mariah's saying, keeping the flame alive, the flame of trust in the natural order and capacity of all until the wildfire sets ablaze again. That's amazing imagery. Avery saying, I'm the goddess. Come swim with me in my ethereal pool. I feel it with love, peace, and magic. In it, you will find your breath, your strength, and yourself. I'm like reveling in that, inhaling that in. Awesome. And so one of the images I just want to share as we go into our journey and our ceremony and meditation is I just keep seeing this picture of like holding light in my hands. And that is my job to tend to this light and care for this light and share it and nurture it. And that right now in the world, there is a lot of chaos and drama and discontent and disrespect. And that when I start feeling that in myself, or I feel it around me, or I see it on the larger stage, that I just keep coming back to like my job, which is to nurture this light. And so I see a few more comments. Tita saying, I'm a light worker. I'm a mirror that reflects you back to you, helping you see who you are or bring out what needs to be healed. Of that. And Larissa is saying, I am the light and healer of myself and this dream. Yes, you are. Okay. And so I'm going to invite everyone to transition into just getting comfortable so that you can turn your attention inward and find a way to have your feet on the ground, or if you're sitting cross-legged, really feeling like you are grounded in your seat. And for me, I like to close my eyes to bring my attention on my body and on my breath. And so I'd like you to just picture yourself as if you are standing fully in your truth, however you want to name or visualize or just feel in your beingness of who you are and what you stand for. And just take a moment to check in with your own light, whether you picture it in your hands or in your heart or in your body or some other way. And just with that sense of curiosity, is that bright? Is that light shining brightly? Has it been dimmed in some way? Does it need a little extra attention? Does it need a boost? Is it perfect the way it is? Just check in with yourself and how you're feeling now today. And my belief is that our light is shining all the time, and that we can also put our attention and awareness on it if we want to nurture it or amplify it or clean it or strengthen it. And so I'd like you to picture that with your breath, with your intent, with your love, that whatever your light is asking for, that you can support it, hold space for it to shift or grow or change or be exactly the same how it is. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to call in any kind of guide or helper, angelic beings, people who have passed, that are unseen support team, that we're asking them to encircle each one of us, encircle this group, encircle all the light workers and light bearers and light amplifiers and light tenders and change agents and mirrors and stars. And that they bring their own quality of light and love and support. I'd like you to picture that that light is above us, behind us, has our back, in front of us, below us, within us, that it's coming and existing in the east, in the south, the west, and the north. And that we can gather and merge and ground and center, having our own light tapped into and supported by source and helper light. And then when you feel that connection to both your own light and support, strengthening light, I'd like you to picture that we start circling the light. We're passing the light amongst us in a clockwise direction around the world. So it's just flowing through the eastern United States all the way over to Europe and the Middle East and Asia and Australia and onto the West Coast. We have Montana and Colorado and New Mexico, passing that light back towards that East Coast contingent that we're creating a circle amongst ourselves and also just enveloping this planet with our intent and our energy and our light. And I'd like you to bring your attention back in to your body, back into the specific place you are residing on this planet. And just check in and see if there's any part of your body, any part of your energetic body, your emotional body, your physical body that could use a little extra TLC, extra love, extra compassion. I'm just picturing that huge, abundant resource that we just tapped into can support you in exactly what your body, your emotion, your mind, whatever it is you need. And now that we've gathered our attention, gathered together, connected, I'm going to be transitioning into passing on the ceremony, the intention over to Janeen. And so I'm going to go ahead and pass that off and invite everyone to now tune into her voice and her instructions.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Back in October, when I was actually right after I'd visited Meghan, I was honored to be taken to some old pictographs by another friend. And as we sat there together, we received this message about how, it's time. Things are changing. It's time to gather your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your friends, all the women of the world together to support each other. And I feel like this is just kind of a continuation of that. And over the past few months, there's been a few words that I've really been hearing a lot, and a lot of actions that I've been taking as I felt this coming. And those two words have been consolidation and completion. And so consolidation, it feels like the energy has been coming back to source. So what are your resources? What do you have to depend on? Don't be out there in the world doing things in a scattered way, but come back to what's most important to you in your pathway and what you're being called to do, and just get rid of anything that's extraneous or you don't need anymore. And so I've been engaged in that in a very real and physical way. And then this idea of completion, which I've been kind of contemplating on for the last couple of days, and realizing that completion is not closure. They're actually two, they feel very differently to me. Closure is, closing a door and never thinking about going back through it. It's a very sort of linear, logical way, whereas to me, completion has more of a cyclical nature to it. High tide, for those of us who live on the East Coast, there's high tide and low tide. There's two of them every day, right? High tide completes and low tide sets in, and low tide completes and high tide comes back. So again, very much this wave idea that Meghan has introduced. And as I've been preparing myself for this day, I realized that there are two cycles of completion that are coming together. And one of them is, it's actually been tomorrow 7 years since the first ceremony that Meghan and I did together in Marblehead for the 12/21/12 date that you all may remember, the end of the Mayan calendar, the end of the world as we know it, what's going to happen, are we even going to be here tomorrow? That's, believe it or not, 7 years ago, which, as we know, 7 is a very complete number. And then, of course, we're entering a new decade. It's that 10 years. It's another good round number. for me personally, as I've been contemplating this completion, I've realized that there are some other cycles that are coming to an end, one of 5 years, one of 12 years, and one of 40 years. And so this feels like a new time. And what it really feels like is a threshold, particularly with 2020 coming. There's some kind of threshold that we're about to cross over. And I'm sure my astrologer friends and some other people who are numerologists and have that viewpoint might recognize some other global and collective cycles that I don't see. And so someone once told me that you shouldn't cross a threshold lightly. And so I've taken that to heart. And one of the ways in which we prepare ourselves to cross a threshold is to look backward. If you're crossing the threshold from life to death, in hospice care, we call that life review. And so I think it's an important piece to take a few moments, maybe more than a few moments, and really acknowledge what's brought us here to this place, this space, and this time. And to acknowledge it and to give thanks for it, whatever it may be, and to love it. And so that's the activity that I'm going to lead us into at this point. So first, I'd like to just take a minute or two and think about if there are any other global cycles or personal cycles, things that you feel are really coming to completion. It might be a project at work. It might be a phase in your life. Maybe your children have all left home. Maybe you have a new home that you're celebrating. Maybe you've lost a loved one recently. Just take a couple of minutes and think about the cycles that may be coming to an end in your life or in the collective. And of course, at any time, if you'd like to share in the chat box, this is a little more interactive than meditative, so feel free to get up, move around if you feel it in your body, want to share anything. Please do. And so the next step, the time of doubt is over. That's beautiful. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, that feels very grounding and very sure. It's time to go. So the little piece is, let's go backwards. Let's go backward by decades. Awesome. Less about sight, more about insight. Beautiful. Financial unawareness. Holding on to old trauma. That's a big one for a lot of us. Great. So let's go backward. Let's think about 2009. December of 2009, where were you? Who were the people in your life? What were you doing? What were you not doing that you wished you were doing? $1989, 20 years ago now. I'm sorry, 1999. Sorry, we were preparing for Y2K. We were preparing for another end of the world in 1999, not knowing if our computers were going to work or whatever. I guess I just wanted to jump through that decade, sorry. 1989, 30 years. Maybe there's a lot of people that are in your life now that didn't even exist in 1989. No, there are for me. 1979. Some of us on the call can go back to 1969. Pretty sure some of us can't. 1959. Now we're working back to where I can't physically touch, but there were people that I loved and love now that were alive then. So we're going to think a little bit about how far can we touch backwards with those that we love who were alive in 1949, and 39, and 29. How far back can we physically touch with grandparents, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents if we knew them? Maybe 1919? Maybe an entire century, back to 1899. More than a century. And actually, if we think about the people that we love, we can go all the way back to the beginning of time this way. Back to a time when we were all probably related. All of our ancestors. So at this point, there may be people or beings or creatures showing up in your space, in your energetic and spiritual space. Animals you've loved and lost, or maybe just love and are still here. Trees, oceans, experiences. So many things form the pattern and the web and the weft of our lives that have brought us here. And not just us, the interconnectedness that we all are, the collective. And of course, into that collective, we can reach out and down and bring Mother Earth, all the earthly creatures and beings. Feel free to, open your eyes, look around, give thanks to your surroundings physically. The clouds, the sky, out to the cosmos, the planets, all of it, the stars, the comets, the amazing things we don't even know exist. Somehow, all of these amazing creations have knitted together to bring us into being in this time, in this place. So my living room's getting a little crowded, but that's okay. There's room for everyone. And, maybe within that web and weft are some not so great memories. Maybe there are some people and experiences we would like to forget and can't. Enemies as well as friends. There are world leaders that certainly haven't been very beneficial for our collective inhabitants of this earth. But they're all still part of the overall that has brought us here. And so, as a way to acknowledge and thank them, I'm actually going to play a song that I heard last summer that I thought was absolutely beautiful. And it's got this great little refrain. Feel free to join in. And I think we're just going to kind of bring our attention. We have our attention. We've asked all of these beings, our guides, whatever, everything that's in existence that wants to be here with us, everything that we need to acknowledge, whatever that is. And so I'm going to invite you to put your left hand over your heart. And as the song plays, you can, as I said, you feel free to get up, dance, move, whatever, wiggle along. But just, we're going to use our right hand to kind of acknowledge and spread that love around as this beautiful song plays. And pretty sure it's gonna, I hope you all can hear it, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna work. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Keep the joy of being together in the heart, and for me, that's just where it is. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. As we make our way, walking joys and pain, and we send some people to stand. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Someone will be calling you to be their beautiful God. Can you hear the cry within? All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Laughter, joy, and presence, the only gifts you are every time I look to be with you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Persons come into the fire of our lives, and the shadows fade and disappear. And all I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Oh, so let's just take a minute. Keep your hand on your heart. The other hand, I want to say thank you to all those who have joined us. Release them back to wherever they need to go. Invite them to stay if they want to stay. But we want to make sure that we bring that love, particularly to ourselves. So I want you to take that right hand and I want you to place it over your heart with your left hand. Really acknowledge yourself, everything within, your experiences, your body, parts you love, parts you don't. Try to bring love to every fiber of your being and your unique and beautiful self. Acknowledge yourself. Say thank you. Thank you, body, for being the vehicle. Thank you, body, mind, and soul, for being together on this journey. And then just let's take those hands and pull them out away from our hearts, cupping them and just releasing that, spreading that out into the world, all around us, down, up, all around. To each other, everyone who's on this call, whether we know each other or not. Forever remember me as loving you. Thank you. And so it is.
So it is. Okay, so we're just going to take a moment to pause and feel your breath. Sending a big thanks to Janeen, all the other people and animals and natural elements that joined us. And so I'd like you to just picture having gathered any parts of yourself that you left behind, that you've also let go and released, anything that hasn't been serving you, so that you could really be in this moment right now with an open heart and an open mind. And I'd like you to check in to what is it that you want to call in for yourself now as we come up to this edge of solstice. What is it that you want to call in for moving past solstice time into the light? And I invite you to do this any way you'd like. And if you'd like to do a fun way with the idea that everything we need is already here, it's already within us, it's already around us, that you could also open your eyes and take a look at around you. And just notice if there's some object that catches your attention. Maybe it pops up. Maybe you look around the room or look around outside and you're just drawn to it. So it might mean actually turning away from the computer and looking around and just seeing if whatever object's catching your attention, seeing what that might symbolize for you. So just to give you an example, I know the last time I did this, I saw a clear water bottle. And for me, it represented that water element of wanting flow, but also having a clear container. And so just give yourself a minute to really look around. What is it that you're calling in for yourself during this time? And then asking yourself, what does that symbolize for you? If you want to type in the chat box what your object was or what that means to help anchor that in your consciousness and your memory, to witness it. Nice, saying the incense burning, the smell of sweet things ahead. Janeen said prosperity. What caught my eye is some turkey feathers I have on the shelf behind me, and the message was that it's time to take flight. And turkey is also about the giveaway, when you're just giving generously of yourself to others. Avery saying, my selenite egg that recharges me and gives me renewed strength. Beautiful. Mariah saw a dream catcher, the manifestations of my dreams. And so whatever your image is, I want everyone to just picture supercharging each other's intent, just lending your generosity, your good thoughts, good prayers to supporting each person in taking their heart's desire, calling it in, nurturing it, sharing it, putting it out there. Rosemary says, light from my path, clarity, wind, and taking flight. Right. And so give yourself a moment to feel that in every cell of your body, whatever you just called in, whether you're remembering it at some other point in your life, whether you actually had a body or you were a formless being and had access to this, whether you can picture someone else you know that already has done this or already has this, and by sending your love and blessings to them, it's reflecting back to you, whether it's simply nurturing that feeling sensation in your body, just expanding and growing your desire, what it is that is going to be most supportive on your soul's path and your soul's journey right now. It's already here and available to you. Now I'm just going to let the wave recede back onto the beach, and cue Rosemary to come on. And we're going to create yet another wave of intent and light. So I'd like to introduce everyone to Rosemary and to have you shift your attention and awareness to her words and her guidance.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to be a part of this ceremony for myself, as for you. I'd like to create a visualization. I want you to take this energy that you are feeling in this moment, excitement of things to come, enthusiasm, dreams, feeling the body.
So Rose, you're really fading in and out.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that. And so
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you if you can just really ground and contain the rocking. I don't know if that's contributing to the sound going back and forth from your computer.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
And so, yeah, just take another breath, and I'm going to ask you just to rewind a little bit and start again so everyone can really clearly hear what you're saying.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah,
my internet here at the top of the mountain isn't always the best, but yeah. I hear it and I appreciate that.
Yeah, now you're sounding really nice and clear.
Thank you. So I just want to be able to give us all the opportunity to take this beautiful energy that we are feeling in this moment, feel in your body, this love, this created for yourself as you have released your past. You see yourself staying that way. Go down and stretch in here, knowing that you are about to take this beautiful step into who you now are. Any hesitation can now be released. All of this love in your heart, all of this light that we all are, gather that up in your bodies, gather that up around you. Give yourself a moment to take that step over the threshold with intention, acknowledging all that has been here and gratitude for all that is coming. As you take that step into who you are finally seeing, that beautiful soul that has always been there, waiting for you, knowing without a doubt that your light is ready to shine out in the world. See yourself moving forward into who you are, who you have always been. Allowing that reflection to be seen, to be felt, to be heard. To give yourself the gift of no longer dimming your light. To know that as we step into this decade of who you are, it will be felt by all that come into your path. Whether it be in your business, in your home, with your family, when you're in the grocery store, when you're in the car, keeping that beautiful current running clear and beautiful, and the wind guiding you and trusting exactly where you are supposed to be. 2020 is our time. It is time to show up in whatever form that is. Whether it be big, huge in your businesses, or big and huge in your home. reflect this light you came in with. Let everyone see that light. Know and trust that all of these beings that are here in this moment are always with us. And they are celebrating who you are, celebrating that you are saying yes to this moment. Ride this wave. Go out into the world. And do not forget your soul. Do not forget your light. Do not forget your human. Honoring them all in each moment. No matter who or what shows up. You are here to be in service. We are here to be in service. With so much gratitude for all of the beings that have come to hold this space for us as we stand at the edge of this amazing place we are about to cross. When you are ready, step over your threshold. This is a powerful moment. And I honor myself, and I honor all of us as we step over with all the feelings that are happening in this moment. And always offer your breath. Everybody could take a deep breath and release. Letting go. One more breath. And release. Get ready to shine. It's going to be a bright new world. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. With so much gratitude. Aho.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rose. And so if there is some person, somebody who has passed a situation that you know about on the planet that you want to direct some of this light and love that you are, I'd like you to hold that person, that situation. Maybe there's many that you hold them in your heart, in your thoughts, that you become the channel for your own light and your own soul to flow out into the world and to share the abundance of radiance and luminosity and truth and service that you are. And that we're creating a grid, a matrix, a fluid, interlocking network of waterways, windways, that this energy can flow exactly where it's most needed, where it's wanted. And that there's no limit to your power and your connection to keep the energy flowing in you. You have a huge, huge reservoir inside of you, and there's still enough to share with our families, our friends, our clients, our communities, with Mother Earth, with humanity, with this world. And so we're going to close our ceremony with huge, deep bows of thanks and gratitude to each of us who showed up fully shining, ready to be leaders in our own way. And a huge bow of thanks and gratitude. Namaste to all the guides and helpers, to the directions. Thank you to all the people who received our energy as well. And so if your eyes are closed and you're ready to move back into the room, if you want to move around at all and circulate the energy in your body, have any kind of stretching that feels good. And so I am happy to stay on the call for a few extra minutes if anyone wants to share what your experience was or what you want to take away and have witnessed. And I also just want to really acknowledge that our friend Leah created a really beautiful meditation that is intended for being a practice and being a way you can refill, send out that energy, support the work that each of us are doing. And I've put a bit.ly link in the chat if you want to copy and save that. We'll also put it up on our Facebook walls. It's free. We're not asking for email addresses or anything. She just put it up on YouTube so anyone can listen to it and watch it. And so I just want to thank everyone who was able to join us today. And I'd love for anyone who wants to share. I'm going to turn Rose's camera back on. If anyone wants to share anything that they took away, any experience they had, anything that you want everyone to just acknowledge, I'm happy to unmute people, or you can also type it in the chat box. So I see Avery is raising her hand. Hi, Avery.
Hi.
Hi.
Rosemary, I just want to acknowledge that I felt you were speaking directly to me, and it was almost like the frequency channels that we weren't getting through. What I did end up hearing were words directly to me. Mm-hmm. And I almost felt like everybody else was getting what they needed in a different language. But yeah, it was your energy so strong that it was like meddling with the frequency, is just kind of how I read it. And then, yeah, not knowing most of you on this call, it was very powerful, that either we all have what Rosemary feels like we need, or that she just spoke directly to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Avery. Yes, I think the energy on this mountain I live on too is also feeds that. So it feeds my energy even more. So it amps everything up even more. I have a beautiful space, but yeah, I was really feeling that in my body too. So I was right there with you. Thank you.
Anyone else want to share? Either see a few comments in the chat box, and anyone else want to speak, you can type me a little comment, or if you raise your hand in some way, if you're still on camera, I can unmute as well. Athena's saying, the sun burst through the clouds, the dog took it all in. Beautiful, so much gratitude, deeply moved. Sweet. Elizabeth was saying, thank you and peace. And Mag was saying, thank you all for sharing your gifts of light. Awesome. Hey, Deb, just noticed you're here too. So I just want to thank everyone. We will also share a recording if anyone wants to share it with anyone who might want to tap in today or tomorrow. And if you want to listen to it again yourself, of course, you're welcome to. And I know I feel refilled and rejuvenated and ready to step across that threshold tomorrow and in the coming year. So thank you, Janeen and Rose, for playing and creating, and each one of you, just namaste. Just keep sharing our light. Okay, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy solstice.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.